Hello and welcome to tonight's LLL Esports Round Up. We're going to cover a couple bits of news, recap the games from this morning at Worlds 2023 play-ins, and then preview tomorrow's series in play-ins. But there is news to go over first, and I'm only going over news from teams that are at Worlds and maybe some player moves afterwards at Worlds or whatever. If there's a couple days where there's nothing like this upcoming week. But Fnatic, Reckless leaves. So Reckless has been let go. And he was their sub last time I looked, and Wonder is gone. So I don't know who Fnatic's substitute actually is at this event. I'm sure it's somewhere, and it's somebody obscure. Maybe it's an assistant coach or something, but that is interesting that both Wonder and Reckless both leave right between season finals and Worlds, and Fnatic brings somebody else. I would think you would bring Reckless because hypothetically, if he's been preparing to play support over the last few months, and obviously he can play AD carry, that gives you two roles where he could substitute if necessary, and instead of having a complete random in there. So that was something interesting that I thought I'd mention because it is a player obviously everybody knows, and also it's like, what is Fnatic going to do now? Also, Mad Lions, I saw there was a video, I didn't watch it, but I will say right now, Pad is the interim head coach. Interim means Mac is not let go. It's just that Pad is taking his place for now. Mac is 26-43 internationally. Pad is only 0-6 and actually 14-13 in the regular season as a coach, an assistant under Mac this past year with Mad Lions. So we'll see what happens with that. Do keep that in mind when you are thinking about how Mad Lions are going to perform at this event. Some people will say, oh, well, Mad Lions always int, so it doesn't make a difference or this or that. And it's like, well, they have a different head coach right now than they've had the last couple of years, so maybe that changes things. I don't know. But that is the deal with that. I thought it was something of note because it is a team at Worlds. We're going to see Mad Lions play at least 3 games. So, it's a thing. Recap from this morning, GAM and Rainbow 7. I went 2-0 in my predictions today. So Slater, MVP, had a pentakill. I think on Zaya. I think both players had pentas on Zaya. Katie, 7-4-19, led the way in damage, 28%. Yes, that's a big surprise myself. Pallet, 1033. He was probably my MVP if Slater didn't have a penta. CEO, 474, 31% of damage in the loss. He did have a couple moments where he shined through, but Rainbow 7 were outclassed this time around. They did beat GAM last time they played, but just didn't have anything for him. Bong died like 13 times in 2 games. Looked absolutely awful as Kiea was super impactful in laning phase, and then in team fights, like Bong was actively hurting his team. Like it was a 4v5. Levi looked very good in game 2. I thought game 1 he left a little bit on the table on the Wukong, but game 2 on the Vi he was a menace. And bot lane Pallet I thought looked so good on Rakan and Rel. Not dying on those 2 champions is pretty impressive, especially the Rel, given you literally go in and hope you don't die with the Magnet Storm. So I thought that was very impressive. I thought his engages were very good. And, GAM beat them pretty handily. There's not really a lot to say because Rainbow 7 looked awful. They stalled out 1 game, I think, but really, by that point, the game was well over. And even there were moments where Kiea was leading this team in damage, which I'm surprised he didn't end up leading the team in damage by the end because there were some team fights where he died early on. I think there was a Jax team fight in particular. The game was already over. It was very far in GAM's favor, and he died early, but still led that team fight in damage for quite a bit. That might have even been the Slater Penta angle. So definitely one-sided. DFM BDS, Crowny is MVP. Also got a penta. He went 12-11, 33% of damage. Sheo, 6-1-15 in the jungle. Arya, 4-7-3, 32% of damage in the loss. I thought he was okay. His Tristana, he tried to help things out in game 2, but just it wasn't enough. So I'm not blaming APM. I know Jerb from Discord in the comment section of the last video said, a lot of people are blaming him and it shouldn't be his fault. It should be DFM's, and that's 100% true. DFM have a terrible read on this. The fact that BDS were banning Senna makes no sense to me because the Senna looked awful. Nobody is playing Senna. I talked about this yesterday. I don't know why they played it and picked it, and the fact to even ban it, what are you looking at here? Maybe they scrimmed against each other, and DFM beat BDS in scrims with it, and that's why DFM thought they could play it, and it looked like shit. But top lane Opperman or APAman, however they want to pronounce it, is not supposed to be here. And it looks like that clearly. At 30 years old, he wanted to have a chance to go to Worlds. He went, but Adam absolutely gapped him. Crowny gapped Utapon. I thought that those leads were massive in the bot side of the Rift as well. Arya not taking advantage of Nuke is a problem because that was a matchup that they needed to win. Sheo obviously finding good engages. I think on the Vi in one of the games he was getting all the kills in the early game, and Steel just couldn't match him. And frankly, that's what Steel needed to do. I thought Steel would be more than matching. I thought he'd be setting the tempo. But in this series, they were on the back foot. I think DFM are falling apart. One has to wonder, too, with the draft and the Senna and things. Kazu did get suspended. Saros got suspended. Both of their coaches, their longtime coaches and players on this team. DFM's Dynasty. Those two players are suspended. They have Vivid Eternal playing as the coach, being the coach. And they are making weird decisions. And one has to wonder if one thing leads to the other here. And, they did it to themselves. I'm not saying it's an excuse. In the end, this is their fault. It's not like these guys had COVID or something and couldn't play or had an issue, had a visa problem that wasn't their fault or something. No, this is something they self-inflicted. And, DFM are absolutely terrible now. So that's a thing. Not competitive internationally, at least. And BDS, they looked excellent outside of probably that mid lane matchup. Sneak peek for tomorrow, Loud GAM. Last time they played earlier this week, Loud won 2-0. The matchup, so we're going to look at each lane. Robo went 10-5-15, 20% of damage in the win. Kiea 6-10-5, 33% of damage in the loss. So the top side of the Rift, very important for GAM. The last time they played, Robo flipped heads. You do have to flip a coin when it comes to Robo. I don't think it's very predictable on what's going to happen. Croc 4-4-16, 12% of damage in the win. Levi 4-6-6, 15% in the loss. I did think Levi looked excellent in that 2-0 loss, if you even could. So I do imagine Levi to get the edge again. Tinones 5-1-17, 25% of damage. Katie 0-7-6, 21% of damage in the loss. Tinones was relevant. Katie was not in that one. Then we look at the last series these two teams played. Tinones was non-existent against PSG, and Katie was dominant against Rainbow Seven. So who knows how that matchup's really going to go. And then bot lane, Root and Seos, 19-6, 39, 43% of damage in the win. Slater, Pallet, 6-15, 16, 31% of damage in the loss, and that was where this series was decided. If I recall correctly, Root got after Slater, punched him in the mouth early on in the laning phase, got after him time and time again, playing very aggressive, unlike he had played all split long. And in doing so, put GAM on the back foot. Now GAM may have some confidence after this. We'll see what happens when it comes to that, because they just looked unconfident. They didn't look like they had confidence. Looked like they had a bad read on the meta. Maybe they're starting to figure it out now. I do think GAM are better than how they played against Loud last time. I believe there were even some CBLOL fans in my comments that also had some sane thoughts about that as well, that Vietnam is better than that doesn't mean Vietnam necessarily beats Loud, but that they are better than how they played in that one. And then BDS CFO, we have nothing to go off of there outside of what we've seen obviously this event, because they haven't crossed paths. Adam only has been to one Worlds, and the rest of his teammates have not been to any. Sheo versus Gemini, it's very reminiscent of the Steel Sheo series, in my opinion. And in the matchup, in that Gemini is a veteran, and see if he can do things, set a pace facilitate, make things happen. Top side of the Rift, Rest and Adam. Rest is better than Apiman or whatever, but Rest has to show up if they want a chance in that one, because Adam is setting quite a pace up there. He is nasty. Jimmy over Nuke. I do think Jimmy is better than Nuke, but this is a matchup where you have two younger players. I don't think Nuke is that old, if I recall. So it's going to be a matchup where who shows up on the day. Bot lane, Shun left a little bit to be desired in their last series. Shousey looked very good on the Blitzcrank. Didn't he play Blitzcrank? Or was it BA on Blitzcrank? Never mind. Shousey's looked good, I think, in one of the series for CFO. Maybe it was against DFM. But I do think that bot matchup is competitive. Crowny, Lebrav, and Shun, Shousey. Shousey, obviously, a bottom tier LPL support, so it's not like he is not major region level. Yeah, that's it for the roundup. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.